Boom coming in hot, Chinchy. How we doing, brother?
I'm doing good, dude. Where are we now? Yesterday we were in a beautiful home of Sarah's aunt, and today that background's it's cool looking. It's a little scary looking. Like I wouldn't want to be out there at night by
Dude,
myself.
dude, I'm at the Element Hotel in Woodridge, New Jersey, and there's some shady apartments up top, and
It looks it looks like
dude, it's a nice hotel, really nice hotel.
I'm sure it is, but that looks like behind your right ear, it looks
Yeah,
like the hotel from what's that movie where the guys
Psycho.
yes. Looks like if you walk up that hill, the guy's gonna have his mother dead in the closet upstairs. Anyway, what are you eating? And you're eating.
Dude, I got a little broccoli salmon, just crushing. I'm moving from I got an MLB Network meeting at 2. I'm all over the place, dude. Let's go.
Oh,
So
who's
are
on
you,
the show
man?
with you today? Who's on the show with
Yeah.
you?
I don't know who's on me tonight. I did last night with Ruben Amaro Jr. and Roflo, Robert Flores. Great show.
Nice, very nice. All right, so let's get into it. This is the tough conversation, man. Tom Brady last night. It was like, shoot, I remember watching like Sugar Ray Leonard like lose a boxing match.
Yeah.
The boxing equation, I think, always kind of goes in parallel with a with the guy who was on the poster on your wall above your bed and all that kind of stuff, and to see him struggle was like, it's a tough part of sports. And listen, man, let's just start with him. Like, you were with Ken Griffey Jr., dude, back in the day when he wasn't hitting 56 home runs anymore, but he was still hitting 37 and 38. And I think equivalent, Tom Brady is still hitting 37, 38 homers as a quarterback, but it's not the guy. What's your sentiment on all this, being an athlete and just watching it happen?
Dude, listen, I was thinking this when I was watching it. I mean, do you think Todd Bowles has anything to do with it as far as being the head coach? Bruce Arians is there, brings a different light. I mean, Todd Bowles was with the Jets and didn't do anything for those years. Next thing you know, he's head coach. I think it's the trickle down effect of the Buccaneers played terrible this year. The fact that they were 9-8 or whatever is a miracle. Like I just thought the team wasn't as good, at the end of the day. And Brady's obviously part of that, but I just felt like whatever the leadership wasn't the same, and that the team wasn't as good. And I just think Brady was mixed into all that. So that's the first thing. And I still think, did he lead the league in yards this year?
I think he was like third. I don't know, somewhere
third yards,
going into the end of the season. He's third in yards.
Yeah, still one of the best quarterbacks out there. You know what I mean? And I don't know if his time's up or not. I'm not sure. I like him because I still think he's producing. He's 45 years old and still getting it done. And I love watching Tom Brady still play. I just feel like there's something wrong with the Buccaneers, like as a unit. I think if they didn't have Tom Brady, I think they're probably 4-13.
Wow, that's good analysis. That's good football analysis. I haven't gotten that perspective. Now there's so last year, like the Dolphins lost their draft pick because they were trying to get him. Imagine him with like Tyreek Hill and those guys, because he can still throw the ball 55 yards, dude.
Bro, that's what I mean. Watch out, dude. Get him on the Jets. Get him on the Jets. Get Tom Brady. Get Tom Brady to the Jets, and you watch them take off, dude. They're so close. They're a quarterback away with that defense, with how good they are, even offensively. The weapons that they have, they can't have anybody get them the freaking ball. Get Tom Brady there with some dump off to some of those guys, those weapons. The Jets next year will be 13-4 with Tom Brady on their way to the postseason.
Look at you. I hadn't even thought about that. Holy moly, Broadway Tom, you call him, or something like that.
Dude, get him, man. Get him to the Jets. Seriously, I'm telling you.
They tried to do that. I mean, they did that with Favre years ago, but Favre was in a whole different part of his career than Tom Brady is. And they're not the same type of quarterback. Like Tom Brady's more of like the batting average guy, and Brett Favre is more of like the slugger,
Yeah, gunslinger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Dude, that is a great call. But that being said, so everybody's saying like, oh, he didn't retire last year. He did retire. He doesn't want to retire. I wanted to ask you, because I think you correct me if I'm wrong. It was building inside you and you were comfortable with it. And you can explain that in a second. But then I'm sure you played with guys who probably fought that question for 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even too long. So can you walk our audience through like how difficult that decision is?
Bro, it's when I look back, change like it's a life changing decision. You've been doing this stuff since you're 20. I've been playing. Start with college baseball. 18 years old till I was 34. All I did was baseball. All I thought about was baseball. All I thought about was the off season, the training. You never stop. 12 months a year. You lay in your bed during the season when you're good, when you're bad. You have insomnia nights when you're struggling. You have other times where it's this emotional wave, and it's 17 years of it. And all of a sudden, one day you're like, "Hey, I'm done." And I remember looking back that year in Boston when I was there in 2008. I kind of just knew deep down. I had 3 kids at home, 3 small kids. I was ready to be home. It was my first year coming off the bench. Still had a good year, hit 320. I still could have, I had, offers to go play, a couple year deals for the next couple years, but I just didn't want to do that anymore. And, it was a tough decision because that's all I've known for so many years. And, I can see how Tom Brady was like, yeah, I'm done. And then a couple months later, he's like, no, I'm back. I had that same thing, dude. I was done. And then I was like, it was in 2008 too when the market had crashed, and I was like, "Oh man, it'd be nice to go back and maybe get one more contract and put that money away." And I almost thought about coming back, and then I signed with MLB Network, because they had just launched. But it's an uneasy thing, man. It's an uneasy thing when you're coming to the end of your career and it's all you've known. And listen, it's not always, the grass isn't always green on the other side. You think about, oh, I'm going to be at home. I'm going to be with the kids all the time and doing this. No, like, dude, it was one of the toughest adjustments I ever had. That first year out of retirement, man, it was very uneasy for me because, it's a new routine, man. You're home all the time. My ex-wife now, back then you realize, man, that, do we even know each other? We've been away from each other so long that dynamic. And now I went from not being around at all to being around all the time.
Yeah.
Three young kids at the time. It's just,
there's 81 days, 81 days where you don't have to take the garbage out.
Yeah. 81 days you're on the road. Yeah, exactly. And even when you're home, you're not home, because when you're home, like, you're home, you wake up, you play with the kids, you have lunch, and then bam, you're at the yard. So, hey, man, no one prepares you for it, especially in professional sports, of going from one extreme to the other. You go from everything's about baseball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever, to nothing. To
boom, and it's an
nothing,
adrenaline
no
that you have to
transition.
replace.
And you're 34 years old. It's not like you're 74 where you're like planning your retirement. You can't wait to go on vacations and travel the world. You're like, no, you're 34 and you're like, what?
Wow.
I got, you just feel like, man, what's the purpose now? What am I waking up for? What am I getting after? What's probably in between your time, MLB Network and the 33rd team, dude, you had a year and a half there where, where you're like, what am I getting up for? What am I doing?
It's an absolute mental grind. Like, my biggest thing was like, I have to get dressed. I got to get dressed. Because normally you get dressed because you have something to do and somewhere to go for people to look at you. You, especially a former ball player, you got a lot of, a couple bucks in the bank. You don't have to go to a job or anything. So now you have to actually say, I need to go out of my house today, right? Like, I have to make a plan of something because my entire life has been planned for me. Like, and not just planned, you got traveling secretaries, you got somebody grabbing your laundry.
You got clubhouse guys doing your laundry. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's great. And like I said, man, it was the greatest. It's, you don't appreciate it when you're doing it because it's, you're so in it. But, for a guy like Tom Brady, and I think he's going to be an analyst. He already got that big money, then, bailed on it. But so he's going to make millions of dollars. It's not about the money. It's not about the money at that stage. It's more about, where your passion still lies. And at the end of the day, bro, you can only play professional sports for so long. And Tom Brady is reinventing the wheel with his recovery, the way he sleeps, the way he eats, the way he moves, the way he stretches, how malleable his body is, all that stuff. His psyche, the way he gets rid of the ball, the way he sees, he's changed the game. So when I look at Tom Brady, we keep saying, oh, should this be his last year? Should it? Should it be his last year, dude? He's still doing it at a high level. Why? Because he takes care of himself. His energy's at a high level. He eats, sleeps, and moves differently than everybody else. He focuses differently. He meditates differently. So I'm saying, like, hey, man, I look at Tom Brady and I go, keep going, dude. If that's what your passion is, because the grass isn't always green on the other side, bro. If you're Tom Brady, keep going, man, until you decide in your heart. Because I know, Chich, in professional sports, I knew the reason I walked away is because I remember one day in Boston walking up to the lineup card and I wasn't in there, and I was like, that's all right. I'd never felt that in my career, dude. When I wasn't in the lineup, I was in the manager's office saying, hey, why am I not in there today? I'm hitting 360 off lefties. I'm hitting two. I should be in there. You know, when I didn't have that feel to go in
Yeah.
the office anymore, I was like, man, what's that? I've never felt that before. That's when I was like, you know what? I'm starting to feel like, where's that 100% fire? And to play professional sports at that level, you got to be 100% all in. If Tom Brady's still 100% all in, keep playing. You know, but if you're 99, 98% in, okay, now you gotta really say, can I grind and grind and grind and keep playing at an elite level?
Well done. And bonus points for using the word malleable. I haven't heard that in a while, but it's a perfect word there. That was a good
There you
word.
go.
I like that. All right, good, dude. Great stuff, man. Your football stuff is locked in. You're locked into the foosball. So one last topic. We've been talking about these guys. It's funny. Yesterday we talked about McCutcheon and how we were kind of upset and down on the Pirates, but they got him, and that's kind of like at least a morale booster.
Yeah.
So we haven't, you and I, talked yet about Trey Mancini going to the Cubs. So now you got some of the guys that they brought in. Swanson, obviously like all-star level, but still A plus plus clubhouse guy. Eric Hosmer, A plus plus clubhouse guy, and now they go and get Trey Mancini, A plus 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 clubhouse guy. You kind of are starting to see what's going on and how they're kind of trying to build that Cubs team, right?
Well, the lineup looks a lot better, dude. At the end of the day, when you looked at the lineup last year, you're like, oh, who can beat me? Ian Happ's the only guy that can beat you, right? So you pitch around Happ, you know, you're playing in a good situation. You know, you got a lot of upside guys, right? You got Hosmer, who's got a chance to you know, that can still rake and play at a high level. You got Bellinger, who, dude, if he does well, man, you got a really good shot of, you know,
Oh
this
yeah,
guy
I
was the
forgot about
MVP a few
Bellinger.
years ago. You know what I mean? Like maybe a change of seizure, maybe a one more year, a healthy shoulder. He goes to another level and becomes that gold glove center fielder, first base. You know, he can play anywhere. This guy is a stud. So maybe you got him at the right time where he could turn things around because he's still 27 years old, still young. You got a Trey Mancini, who in 2019 hit 38 home runs, 900 OPS, you know, over 100 runs driven in. This guy was an absolute stud. You know, has had some up and down years, but 18 home runs last year. Didn't do well with the Astros, but still was having a good year with the Orioles. Had a good year in 2021. Another upside guy. You know, so I think Jameson Taillon, you put him into the rotation, but now David Ross looks at that lineup and he goes down and he says, okay, now Hap's in there and we like him. Patrick Wisdom's in there. You know, Nico Horner's a good little player. But you got Mancini, you got Hosmer, you've got Bellinger. Now it's a lineup where you're like, okay, that's a little more formidable than looking up and down the lineup and seeing just Ian Happ as the guy that can beat you. So if you're David Ross, you're like, hell yeah.
I love that. Great point. And hey, you know what would be great? Man, it would be so awesome if we could talk to David Ross about this stuff at some point.
You know what? We are going to talk about him soon. We just locked Ross in.
Yes.
Hopefully he gets on with us and we can ask him a couple questions and hear from the horse's mouth about how he feels.
The horse's mouth. And I got to ask him what it was like when Eddie Vedder was going to sing the seventh inning stretch and looked down and said, let's do it for Grandpa Rossi from Eddie Vedder during the World Series. There's so much to talk to that dude about. And I don't know him very well. I know him through you guys, but he's a good person, right?
He's the best, dude. He's the best. He's the best. Played with him in Boston in 08, and he one of my favorite teammates ever. And just a great dude, man. Just a great dude. And you know, don't forget, he also won Dancing with the Stars. So we got things to talk about.
Wow, this might be one of our epic ones. Do you know the other day we did? By the way, real quick before we go, we put out so much content now. Do you know that I have overage charges on our Buzzsprout account because we're going over the hours that we pay for? And
are you serious?
Yes, and we have the maximum account. We have the most bandwidth of the account with Buzzsprout, and so every week or two we throw a couple extra hours on there, and it's like a little $6-7
right here, bro. We better start making some money.
Yeah. So now, folks, you guys are good fans. I know we're getting a lot more of you, but now not only are we not making money, but we're paying to do this show. So we need your support.
Kids,
so we can feed our families.
kids, we're losing money. Now we're
Yes.
losing money in America.
We're borderline hemorrhaging money at this point. So just so you all know, we love you all, but please tell your friends, like and subscribe. Somebody asked me
Yeah.
about sponsorship. Thank you to
Download,
Manscaped.
download.
Manscaped was our sponsor once. I still get like those little ball kits and every once in a while in the mail. Do you get one every once in a while or no?
Yeah, I still get some of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
I somehow I'm losing money on Manscaped too. I somehow signed up, and I got charged it. I'm like $15 a month of getting charged for this lotions. I'm like, what the hell?
All right, so we need your help, fans. Spread the word, right? And that's it. You got a meeting to go to, right? In a couple minutes.
Yes.
What's your last thought? You can give your plea to the fans right now before we say goodbye.
No, dude, all the fans out there, thanks for listening. Keep tuning in. We'll keep paying the money to Buzzsprout or whoever we have to pay it for. We just want more listeners. Chinch and I do not want to go homeless.
All right.
All right, brother. Love you, man. I'll see you, Chinchy. I'll see you tomorrow, brother. See everybody tomorrow. Thanks for listening.